everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Closure Show. Today's episode, I want to talk about making time for success. What do I mean by this? Well, I'm always amazed that people have great ideas. And now as we're rolling into, it's hard to believe it's the end of February. We've got, a week left basically, and the year's a sixth of the way done. 2024 is already a sixth of the way done. If you're not happy with where you're at, with your goals, your focus, what it might be, you got to be honest and look at yourself in the mirror. Am I doing the things that I need to be doing to find success? And most of that means, am I making time and taking the time each day, each week to focus on those things? Because let's just be honest with yourselves. All right? You got to be honest, because that's the thing. If you're not finding success in something, and you're not doing anything, then you're the problem. You're the issue here. And I see this happen. I've seen this with so many students in the past. And people always ask, what's your success rate? Well, my success rate is based on what you put to work. And most educators, people that teach classes, or really want their students to find success. I mean, we wouldn't really teach if we didn't want that. All right. Now, there are some people out there that are scrupulous, don't give a rat's ass. There are some people in the industry, they just want to upsell you. They don't want you to go do anything because they want you to be beholden to them. But that's not the way that I work. I work wanting you to find success, but I'm not going to do it all for you. Because if something comes easy, we don't want to do it. Honestly, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? But that's the thing. Success doesn't come easy. You have to realize it means putting in the work. Now, we're not talking you got to put in 60, 80 hours a week. If you did that, you're going to get there faster than somebody puts in 5 hours a week, obviously. It's like the whole Elon Musk analogy of how he got successful. He would work 80 hours a week when everybody else was putting in 40 hours a week. But I'm always amazed. I'm really amazed when I see this in other real estate professionals, whether it's investors, realtors, loan officers. I don't know what it is. It just baffles me that if they've come from being a successful realtor or a successful loan officer or a successful investor in another niche, how less patient they are than they were starting off. And I always like to ask them, well, how long did it take you to become a successful realtor? Well, it took me, a couple of years. What were you doing? What did you change? Well, I started showing up. I started networking. I started marketing. I just didn't sit around and wait for things to come to me. You've got to put the work in. And I get people that are signed up for our membership, and our membership is still the best bang for the buck in the industry. Like, oh, I'm not focused on it. I'm like, I know you're not focused on it. Why? Because you're not showing up for coaching calls. You're not asking me questions about assets. You're not even bidding on assets and tapes that we put in there. So it's hard to find success when you're not doing the basic things to do. Like, I can go to people's LinkedIn accounts. Yes, I socially sleuth our members. What are they doing? What's their background? Are they marketing? And I want to follow you. I want to be excited about it. Like when I see people post, like this morning, Jessica Bircher posted something, great photo, great post about looking for notes. Antron Dent posted something the other day talking about 3 deals he's working on. I absolutely love seeing that stuff because that shows me you're doing a little bit more than most people. But people want get rich quick, or get success quick, I should say, is better than get rich quick. Like, oh, I don't want to do all that work. Well, how the hell did you become a great apartment investor? Well, I attended conferences. I made offers. How many offers did you make to the closure? I made like 30 offers. Like, well, you haven't even made a single offer on a note deal yet. Are you taking time? And I don't get me wrong. I always know there's a learning curve. Like, people are listening to the podcast. Thank you for listening. Or they're watching YouTube videos. Thank you for subscribing to the number one YouTube channel out there for note investors. But they don't make any offers, or they don't start marketing, or they get a list in from a hedge fund. I had this happen. A student got all excited. They got a list in. I'm like, that's awesome. And then they didn't make any offers. Well, there weren't any good assets on it. I'm like, well, I'm going to stop being an investor. I'm just going to be a realtor. I'm like, you understand that if you're not happy with where you're at as a realtor or as a loan officer, this is the big thing with loan officers. Loan officers like, oh, I don't want to do any work. I'm like, you're lazy. It's the same thing, but you've got to put the work. You've got to put in marketing. And not everybody has the same work ethic as others do. I get it. Success takes time. It takes honing your craft and learning your craft. One of the things that made me successful as a loan officer, I've never been a realtor, so I can't talk about that. But when I started off as a loan officer, what did we do? Well, we traveled to investors. We went out and met with investors, and we were very fortunate. We had a very unique thing where we were able to go out and attend Ron LeGrand events. There'd be anywhere from like 500 to 1,500 investors at it, and we get a lot of mortgage applications. But getting applications is just one thing. It would take the time to fill out the paperwork. We would come back from an event, and I would spend the first Monday, even though I was tired from traveling on Sunday, I'd be back in the office on Monday, and I'd be going through all these applications, put them in our Calyx point system, seeing what the stuff is, running some quick numbers, highlighting, things that I need to fill out, things I need to sign. This is different than online stuff. And then working by Monday evening at 4 o'clock to be delivering, loan files that we could FedEx or USPS out to the potential our applicants to get them on the. And I can remember the look on Bob's face when he walked in the office first thing on a Monday morning, and I'm there already, and I'm all on the carpet because we worked in this like 2-bedroom office that we knocked the wall out in the house they lived in. Of all my files light out there. Did I have the right, making sure everything looked good, everything was stamped, everything was organized, and working to get things done and putting the work in to get it out. And then it was a follow-up aspect of giving them a couple of days or calling and emailing them and letting them know, hey, we're sending you these documents. I need you to fill it out, scan it, and fax it back to us for get the ball rolling with you. But it was a process. You got to put the work in to get a loan closed, right? And I'm always amazed too. If you think about what realtors are going through, and this is the most frustrating thing I get, because I see realtors, loan officers, mortgage brokers, investors, if you take the time and understand, whatever you've been doing isn't working now, okay? There's not this wave of foreclosures. There's not this wave of distressed apartments, or, there's, what I'm saying, there's deals in every niche, but markets change. You got to learn how to market, or you got to pivot with your business, like with the second lien investors. Many second lien investors had to get out of the second lien space because there still isn't a lot of inventory, and you either got to pivot to the first or go into traditional real estate. But people are like, I'm still going to try to find it. Look, I'm sorry to tell you, it doesn't work that way. You're not going to be able to take 50 grand and go buy a portfolio of seconds anymore. You might get one or two, and they may be overpriced. That's not a good business model. If you want to find first liens, you've got to market. You got to put the time in on a consistent basis. And it really comes down to making the time each day to get things done. And I'll give you a great example. One of the number one things that people want to do is get healthier, right? They want to get healthier, and you can do that by the simplest diet out there. There's this way to lose weight. Has not changed at all. It's eating less or eating better food instead of junk food, and exercising, moving your body more. Okay. Simple. Okay. And one thing you can do, you could go get a salad from Mad Greens or some other place versus going to McDonald's, or you could prep ahead of time, make a big salad and put it in Tupperwares and take it with you to work. Right. Little food prepping. What it would take you to make one dinner on Sunday night, you could prep for 5 days, and that's what you take for your lunch. You eat better. But to move more, you got to put time in. And that means either you're giving up something in your current schedule, and maybe you're giving up an hour of sleep to get up, or you're basically giving up an hour of TV, or instead of sitting on your butt on the couch, you're riding a bike or doing something to maximize time. You have to make time and make it a priority. I mean, I didn't lose 60 pounds by just wishing about it. I literally got up, started eating differently, and started walking. It's the same thing in business. If you want to find deals, guess what? You got to start marketing, reaching out on LinkedIn and following up with people and putting people into a database. If you want to raise capital, guess what? You got to start marketing to IRA investors. You have to go out and start networking. You got to pull lists. If you want to start doing subject to deals, guess what? You need to pull a list of expireds or FISBOs, send stuff out to them, and do that follow-up process. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, you're not stupid. If you know things are changing, like in the mortgage origination space or the house selling business, buying and selling business, if you're a realtor, you understand things are changing. Unfortunately, I really truly believe in the next 5 to 10 years, most realtors, most loan officers are going to be replaced by AI or I selling. Don't get me wrong, I love realtors. I think it's great. You got to have that. But a lot of that is being removed. And that's why you're seeing a lot of commissions get tightened in those areas. When we left the mortgage business, it's because things were already changing. I was like, that's not the way of doing business. The market's kind of changed. I got to do something different. All right. And you have feast and famine in those industries. But now there are some good folks that understand marketing. They understand, you know, the work that goes into consistent deal flow. You got to market. And those that have been like my good friend Krista Mashore, she's $1 million earner, coaches other real estate investors or other real estate agents and stuff. She's understanding the market's changing. He's like, you got to double down. You got to start changing things and doing things differently than what it was. And here's one thing you got to look at. If you're a note investor, it's a different market. People are not, there are people that have been around for 30, 40 years. They haven't changed the way they've done business. You have to adapt. You have to become a different person. You have to adapt to the times, change, tweak your business model. Sending out yell letters like, hey, my name is Scott Carson. My wife, Stephanie, and I would like to talk about buying your house at 123. Yell letters don't really work, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, they will. There's people they say, oh, yes, it works. Direct mail works. Yes, it does. But you have to put a lot of work into it. Spend a lot of money. If you're bootstrapping your investments, we don't spend any money on direct mail sending out for note deals because we work smarter. And if you realtors and mortgage brokers, especially you guys and gals, if you look at the time it takes you, all the time that it takes you to find a listing, to find somebody who's willing to buy or sell a house, to go out and look at houses, to go out and make sure they're good, to go through the inspection, to go through all that stuff over 45 or 60 days to get what you make. Look at what your hourly is. In some places, it might be worth it. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you see your numbers dropping down when 49% of realtors sold only one house or less than two houses last year, that they're not spending time on marketing. That's why they're failing. You got to realize if you want to change what the outcome is and you already see the right and wrong, you've got to start changing and finding the time and making the time and being patient to allow that to work. If you're trying just to cut corners and get to success as fast as possible, you got to realize it takes time. It takes marketing. It takes showing up on a week in, week out basis. I'm not the biggest fan of Grant Cardone, but the 10X theory, you've got to put in 10,000 hours to find success and to become a professional makes sense. It totally makes sense. But he's also an example of a guy that has had to pivot, change what he had to do because he understand things were changing. Okay. Instead of being the sales technique guy, he's now want to be the apartment guy. I think even though he still doesn't understand some things, how things work. I'm wrong. I don't agree in his model. But I think what you understand, ladies and gentlemen, here is be honest with yourself. How much time are you spending on what your goal is, what you want to succeed in? If you're not spending any time, guess what? You're not going to find any success. I had a call with a lady investor the other day, and I asked her to say, well, you had some success last year. What are you doing this year? Well, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And they called to talk with me. I'm like, well, are you doing A, B, or C? Are you still lacking having an email, a CRM? Yeah, I don't have that still. I'm like, what is your biggest, what's the big hurdle there? Because you're not listening to me and all the other people that you see that are successful that you look up to or that you're going to an event or going and learning from, they have that. That's like the number one tool. If you're not going to invest in your business, then what are you doing? Just like, this morning, there's a guy, I'm a part of a couple podcast group, obviously, because we're a big podcaster. I'm looking for a new hosting service. And if I host a company called Poditize. Tom and Tracy Hazard are great friends. Our podcast would not be where it is without them. And they also allow people to host. Great company, great analytics, all that good stuff. And the guy's like, well, I used to use Anchor. I'm like, well, Anchor's no around. It was free. I said, well, I recommend Poditize. Great stuff, great money. Oh, no, he responded back. They lost me at $29 a month. I'm like, if you're not going to invest $29 in your podcast or $97 in your coaching for note investing, like to sign up for that, you're not willing to do that, then I don't really want to talk to you. Because if you're not putting a little bit of time, a little bit of energy, and free has no value, ladies and gentlemen. If you keep looking for stuff that's free, look, I get it. Our podcasts are great to listen to. YouTubes are great to listen to, but that's not going to be the end all and be all. You sometimes need to get coached and put things in place to help you go find things, to help you take that next step to go beyond by seeing on the sidelines to get into the game, a little bit of accountability, somebody you can reach out to, ask questions. Okay. Then I don't have any time for you. And I know when people aren't, I've only been around for 2 months, I'm canceled, because you haven't done shit in 2 months. How do you expect to find success if you're not going to make any offers, you're not going to call any banks or reach out on LinkedIn to people? It takes time and it takes follow-up. It takes being consistent on a regular basis and doing some work and setting time aside. There's not enough time in the day. There's plenty of time in the hours of the day. If you truly don't have time, guess what? Hire a VA to help you out. Have them do the marketing for you. Help them do the researching for you. But you ultimately have to take the time and make things a priority when you're investing in either A, cloning yourself through a VA to help, or setting time aside from what you used to do or what you're wasting time on or what you used to do that works that doesn't work anymore, and repositioning that hour into you spending time each week on something. That's part of what, like with our one-on-one coaching, one of the most important things is meeting on a weekly basis. And I actually harp on my coaching students, like, listen, if you got something that comes up in the week, you ain't got a week till wait till Wednesday or Thursday or Tuesday when our coaching call is. Text me, let me know. You had something pop up. What's going on? What can I help with? I want to hear that, because what tells me if somebody doesn't reach out to me during the week, most of the time I know they're not doing something. I know that they're waiting until that Thursday or Wednesday night to meet with me because they're trying to get a flurry of activity. I'm like, well, what did you do this week? What did you do Monday? What did you do Tuesday? What did you do Wednesday before a meeting? Nothing. Okay, well, that's why your success is delayed, because you're not buying into making things happen. You're not buying into going into your proverbial investing gym, investing mind by putting in money in the bank. And look, success is a slow boat. All right. We're not talking get rich quick. We're talking wealth is built over time. Success is built over time. Experience comes from learning and making offers and going that way. If you're not making offers, you're not prospecting, you're not doing this stuff, you can shit in one hand and wait in the other. You know it's going to fill up faster, the shit in the hand, because you got to be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, then I can't help you. But if you're going to get into something and you're going to spend some time on it, and if it is truly important to you, then carve out an hour a day. That's why I tell people all the time, like, listen, an hour a day at night or in the morning or in the middle of the day, carve it out to focus on your business. Now, it may not be looking at deals, but it can be about marketing, doing things, raising capital, prospecting, networking, pulling IRA leads, doing some research. There's a variety of ways to find deals if you put some things in place, but it takes time. It takes dedication and being consistent. That's why our successful students who are closing 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, 300 notes find with consistency. It's just the fact that's how they found success, is being a consistent basis on a regular basis. All right. And that's what I wanted just to share with you guys in this episode of the Note Closure Show. Look, we're at 830, 840 episodes. How do we become the number one podcast? Well, we weren't the number one podcast. We started off. Somebody else had a podcast and they stopped doing their podcast. So you know what happened? We overtook them and we blown past them. Okay. Why do we have the number one YouTube channel? Because we focus on our YouTube channel by sharing and giving content. Why do we have the number one podcast? Because we show up on a regular basis. Yes, there's been times that we've had pod fade or stopped doing episodes for a couple months just to kind of revamp. And everybody goes through a little bit of that of pod phase, they call it in the industry, where you stop doing stuff for a little while just to refresh. I can't burn the candle on both ends. But the reason we keep showing up here is I know it's not only valuable to me, but valuable to you guys to make some things happen. Consistency comes from consistency is showing up every day when we don't feel like it. And you know what? Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. If you're scared of mistakes, then keep working at your job. Keep working at your job and just realize that's safe. Somebody gives me a salary. I'm only worth that. I'm going to let somebody else determine my value in life. And if you're comfortable with that and you're happy with it determined, then that's fine. No problem. No risk, no fear, except maybe being laid off or them taking your job away. Me, I think it's better to be able to control your own destiny, control your own path to success. If I want to close more deals, I make more offers. If I want to find more notes, I go out and market more. Very simple. You get out what you put in. Energy and effort equals results. Can't help that. E squared equals results. Okay. If you're not willing to do that, then I can't help you. All right. But if you are willing to do that, then I'm willing to help you and I can help you put that time to work in an effective and efficient strategy to get the most bang for your buck, whether it's an hour a day or 5 hours a week or whatever it is to help you find success. Just listen to what we talk about and what we teach and do as I say and do as I do to help you find deals. So hopefully that helpful. You got to expect that if you're not finding success, be honest with yourself, have the audacity to look at yourself in the eye and realize, hey, I'm not giving it what I need to. I need to spend more time on this. I need to cut out this and do more of this. And if you are honest with it and do that, and are putting more effective use of your energy into things that are going to be actually helpful for you, then you'll find success. If you're putting into things that are not effective, you're not going to find success. There's no secret formula to finding success besides showing up every day and putting effort. Yeah, that's why we see oftentimes and look at the major leagues. You see guys get the major league. They may not be the most talented person, but they're the one that worked the hard. Like I'll give you a great example. If you think about the Golden State guy, Mullins, he's in the Hall of Fame. White boy, okay, not the most athletically skilled. He had to work a lot at staying athletic, and I can't think of anything. He played back when I was a younger kid with a flat top haircut. Anyway, he's in the Hall of Fame now, Golden State, but he would say, I had to show up every day. I had to show up with effort. I had to stay consistent. I had to keep working out because I don't have the most athletic body. Now, there's so many more athletic, talented people along the way that didn't make it because they relied on, I don't need to do that. Well, guess what? Yes, you do. You need to show up. You need to do everything. Any type of kind of cut corners, guess what? It's going to actually set you back. All right. So go out, take some action. If you think about this too, there's another analogy I saw Tony Robbins talk about how Seth Curry, all right? Seth Curry, I think, he's getting ready to pass the most three-pointers made in the NBA. I think he's passing Ray Allen here before too long, this year sometimes. If you think back to the number of shots that he takes on a daily basis in practice versus what he shoots in a game, or actually what he shoots in a season versus what he does in practice, it's like 1% of what he shoots is in the game. Everything else is practice. What are you doing? Think about that. Are you just trying to show up and trying to hit a home run the first plate appearance you're getting, trying to make a three-point the first time you practice? No, you got to practice it. Practice. And that's what happens is that you get so good at the fundamentals, the ins and the outs, the stuff that when it is go time, you're ready to rock and roll. You think about we're on a basketball trip here. You think about UCLA and the John Wooden teams back in the 70s and the time where they won 8 championships in 10 years, something like that. And their practices were the same. It was fundamentals, just dribbling, passing. They got so good at the fundamentals of passing and dribbling and doing stuff. They were phenomenal. Of course, defense is great, stopping and converting from defense into offense. Of course, that's why they're so dominant, because John Wooden drilled into them that the game is made up of the fundamentals. This is why we see this in the NFL too, right? Football, it's blocking and tackling. The good teams that block well are the ones that score well. The ones that tackle well are the ones that don't give up the points, okay? Think about like Baltimore, best tackling, the Baltimore Ravens. And then why they've been famed for their defense over the years is, you think back to, Ed Reed and Suggs and Ray Lewis and some of those guys that played there with that vaulted Baltimore Ravens defense. They had it and they gave it the fewest amount of points because they were tackling people. They didn't allow people yards after the catch, running after contact. When you hit them, when they hit you, you were going down. And then you see other teams that aren't as good tacklers. Well, they're the ones losing. They're the ones that are having to score a ton of points because they can't stop anybody. And it's hard to win a championship if you don't tackle well. And we saw that happen in some of the playoff games where teams weren't tackling at all well. And there goes the guy, there goes the wide receiver, there goes the running back, there goes the quarterback up the middle because the other team can't tackle well. You got to get good at the fundamentals. If you're not good at the fundamentals, it's going to be really hard to have consistent, long-term success in anything that you put to. So get good at the fundamentals. Work on those fundamentals each day. Evaluating deals, marketing, raising capital. Those are some of the things that you have to do. And guess what? It just takes time, and you got to give yourself grace to make mistakes and understand the time frame is and take for you to do that. And that time frame for success is all dependent upon how much you put in on a day in, day out basis. If you don't put any day in, day out basis, your success will take a lot longer to find success. And I don't care if you're in some similar activity, it's a different mentality, it's a different process. You have to understand that and buy into that different process. You can't think, well, just because, I've been a realtor for 20 years, I'm going to find success. It doesn't work that way. I've been a loan for 20 years, I don't need to do that. No, you do. You got to understand it's a different process. You got to show up day in, day out like you did when you started off as a realtor. The great thing when you do buy in that, you will find success faster because you're understanding it and you're giving it time. This is why I always laugh when I see somebody who's brand new to real estate investing, who's coachable, they find success versus somebody who's been around a while. Because now the person that's been around a while didn't think they needed to do anything. Well, that's why they're struggling, because now they're not doing anything. They think it's just going to come to them because they're badass. Doesn't work that way, ladies and gentlemen. Put in the time, dedicate yourself to success, switch up what you're doing, but put the good in. More good in you put in the front end, guess what? The more good you get out the back end. If you don't put any good in or any work on the front end, you're not going to see any results on the back end. So go out, take some action, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you.